Last week at the Texas Motor Speedway, we had our first two-time winner this season, and it was the winner of the opening race all the way back in February of Thomas Troxel, trying to work his way back into the top 10 in points. But there are many drivers trying to work their way back into the top 10 in points. We are at one of the playgrounds for the big-name drivers and teams here in the Wawa Cup Series. As a matter of fact, the winner of this race the past 2 years went on to win the Wawa Cup Series championship later on in the same season. Will that be the case this year? Well, we'll find out once we get to August and once we get to the end of this race here from the Kansas Speedway. It's always a fun one here in the Midwest, and we're excited for this one. It's the Great Wolf Lodge 467 laps on a Friday night here on the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Kansas Speedway here in Kansas City, Kansas. We're excited for this Great Wolf Lodge 400. And a race that has not officially determined the champion, but has seen the eventual champion go to victory lane the past 2 years. Drew Webb, winner of this race in 2023, and Ladovic Charette got her first career Wawa Cup Series win. As a matter of fact, for both of those drivers, their first career Wawa Cup Series race victories came right here at this very racetrack. Will we see that again today? Well, I got someone in the booth who has a driver on his team that has never won in the Wawa Cup Series and starts fourth. That's Tanner Barton there for NS Racing. And Nathan, this is a very, very strong track for the teams and drivers who we see at the end of the season. And where this race is placed, the 14th race of the season, 9 races until the chase cutoff, we tend to see the strongest drivers and teams up front. And that was the case yesterday in qualifying. All the GRT cars were up front in qualifying. How do any of these drivers, who may not necessarily have a good season or have not gone to victory lane yet, get an opportunity at beating all those big names here tonight and having a shot at the Wawa Cup Series championship later on in August?
Well, we just look at the stats. This racetrack, eventually down the line, has crowned the first 2 champions, unironically, and those 2 champions got the first wins in the series. So, on top of that, this track, like you said, is just really good for the better teams to really stand out. And, I mean, heck, look at the front. We got a lot of strong teams of Team Velocity, Grand Autosport, NS Racing, Parker Davis, Echo Evans Ross, Appalachia Racing. There's just a lot of strong teams, even Pacific back there with Tom Troxel. So, this is a track where we tend to see some of the best teams go and be up front, and that's what we saw in qualifying. It's going to be interesting to see if we end up being a third first-timer at Kansas. Tampon is trying to get that done, and I believe a few others are as well. So we'll see if that ends up happening, but it should be a very fun one here tonight underneath the lights at Kansas Speedway.
And, of course, another driver who is yet to go to victory lane in the Wawa Cup Series, starting on the outside pole, is Matthew Hubert. And he's all the way back 24th in points, but very strong in qualifying yesterday, and he has shown some flashes of brilliance the past few weeks. Just doesn't quite have the consistency that his teammate Daniel Pauls Jr. has. But Daniel Pauls Jr. blew up last week, and he's all the way down 20th in the point standings now because of that, even though he has had a very successful season. And it's all over the place in terms of the chase grid. We got 9 races left until the cutoff at Atlanta on June 27th. And that's only a few weeks from now. We got a couple of races. Got a midweek race at Gateway coming up in the middle of June. That'll be a lot of fun. But tonight it's Kansas, and it's Travis Crampton who is still the points leader. He's been the points leader a majority of this season. And I know you are proud of your driver there, Nathan, and what he's been able to accomplish. He's got 90 points on the cutoff, and he's 32 points ahead of Ladovic Charette as well. Ladovic has been very consistent this year, and she has done an excellent job there for Grand Autosport, and she finally has her first pole of the season. Will she get her first win of the season? We'll have to see if that ends up being the case. She's 58 points ahead of the cutoff. Laura Chung is 44 points ahead, but she starts all the way in the back here tonight. Not at all a good start for the driver, third in points. Alex Sanventali there and Tanner Parton both tied 4th in the standings. Parton starts in the 4th position. They're both 35 points ahead. Sanventali's a little bit further back as well, but Sam Vitale's done a very good job in moving his way through the field in these races. Bryce Egan, Logan Williams, both 17 points ahead. Isaac Nichols is 14 points ahead. Avery Alford and Duncan Ward, the Team Williams drivers, just inside with Alfred 6 points ahead, Duncan Ward 4 points behind, and they got two guys who made the chase last year and won a lot of races, Blaine Keys and Kirsten right behind them, but 4 points behind the cutoff. Andrew Miller is 17 points behind, a great run for him as of late. He's been one of the hottest drivers in the Wawa Cup Series the past few weeks. Nathan Smith, 21 points behind. Those are the two guys holding on to the wild card. Jack Haas, 22 behind. Bruno Giacomo, 25 behind. Bartow, 26 behind. Sam Medeo, 28 behind. Very, very tight. It's going to be tight all the way leading up to Atlanta and that chase cutoff once we get down to it at the end of June. Wild card is currently going to Andrew Miller and Nathan Smith. They are 5 and 1 point ahead, respectively. Jack Haas 1 point behind that wild card. Paulus is 14 points behind that wild card, and he had an opportunity of moving top 10 in the points last week. Blew an engine while running top 5, and that was it for him there. And he's had a couple of moments like that this season where he should have got a much better run. He's probably left about 100 points on the table because of instances like that. And if we're talking 100 points on the table, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. He'd be second in points right now. But regardless of the fact, this is a race that sees the best drivers and teams run up front. And I think we're going to see a lot of those guys like Ludovic, like Travis Crampton, like Paulus. I think Tanner Parton's going to be up here as well. Run well in this race. Watch out for Troxel as well. And watch out for some of the guys starting deeper in the field like Blaine Keys and Duncan Ward. I think they're going to find themselves throughout the field as this race goes along too. But we'll just have to see. It's 67 laps. Fuel run just past halfway. And it's the Kansas Speedway, a racetrack we have never seen a caution on in the Wawa Cup Series. We'll see if that ends up being the case here tonight. Ludovic Schrett, Matthew Hubert on the front row. Darian Arnsdorf, the uncharted driver for Grand Autosport, to the inside of Tanner Parton and Avery Alford. Been really good in qualifying. He's made a couple of Fast Six this season alongside Nathan Smith. Tanner Parton, or should I say Travis Crampton, and Kirsten Bell in row number 4. And then Logan Williams, Daniel Paulus Jr. ran out the top 10 starting positions here for the Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas. Let's go ahead and get these drivers to roll off here. All right, Nathan, and we've got a very stacked field here in this race, and a couple of your guys up front as well. Who's getting it done here tonight in this Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas Speedway?
Well, we've seen it in the past. This track shows out some of the best drivers and teams all season, and I think that's going to be the case once again. But I'm going to look back at the history books, so I'm a stat guy, and the first two winners of Kansas Speedway in the Wawa Cup Series, sure they won the titles, but they more importantly got the first wins in the Wawa Cup Series. I think that will continue here tonight. Might be bold, but give me the guy outside pole here tonight. Give me Matthew Hubert, who I think is going to continue that little trend, and I think we have a first-time winner in the Wawa Cup Series at Kansas Speedway here tonight.
We'll have to see if that ends up being the case, and we'll have to see later on this season that ends up being a championship run for whoever might win this race here tonight. Hey, Darian Arnsdorf could win this race here tonight, and with all due respect, he's probably not going to have an opportunity of winning the championship, but that would be pretty cool if he can pull that off there for Grand Autosport. It's going to be a fun one here tonight on a Friday night here. It's my parents' wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. 27 years. We're Green Flag Racing here at the Kansas Speedway in the Great Wolf Lodge 400. Well, Ludovic Schrett out to a very good start right there. A good pull. Here comes Crampton, and a great run for Crampton. I know you like to see this. Your driver going for second there on Avery Alford. To the inside there, you got Logan Williams in the 4th position. Jack Haas, Andrew Miller, that inside lane really moving, and these guys really shuffling around into the corners right there. A lot of lines, and we saw this in qualifying last night. These guys really go all the way up to the wall in some places, and they really spread out, and Troxel's got to be careful right here. Last week's winner at Texas on that outside lane. They kind of squeeze up there going in the turn, or going off the exit of turn number 4, but a lot of movement in the back of the field right here, but a lot of great racing here at the Kansas Speedway, and outside lane did not get going. Matthew Hubert's already fallen to the 13th position right there, and he continues to drop in that 15 machine, but it's a long race, and there's plenty of time to work your way through the field, and Travis Crampton is trying to get to that 51 to Ludovic right for the race lead, but Ludovic's still out front here on lap number 3 here at the Kansas Speedway.
Well, unfortunately, my pick there of Hubert dropped to the back outside the top 10, but I think he should have a good one here tonight. And, well, this is as I wanted. We have two of the best drivers this year in the Wawa Cup Series right now second place is first, and right now first is second. But I don't know how long that's going to be because Crampton has a good one into turns 3 and 4, side by side for the race lead. And you know, we've seen this before at Kansas, and we've seen this again. Some of the best drivers of a current season are running in front. Crampton, Ladovic, Logan Williams, Andrew Miller's inside the top 5, Avery Alford, and this is a trend. And yeah, how about him running 3? And
I would like to mention, I think Bernardo's first ever start on the channel came right here at the Kansas Speedway in the then Wawa Sprint Series. And you know who beat him in that race? Joe Rakowski. And he was second in that race, and here he is, driving for Joe Rakowski, running top 5 right now. They got around Jack Haas there in the 39. There's no grip on that outside lane. He gets stuck up there. These guys fall back, like we're at Darlington, turns 1 and 2 right there. How about Blaine Keys? He's back inside the top 10. Kirsten Bell, Daniel Paulus Jr., all where they expect to be there in the top 10. And how about Andrew Miller as well in this 86 machine to the inside of Logan Williams? These are guys that we are consistently seeing up front now. Andrew Miller, Logan Williams has been consistently up front. Kirsten Bell, Blaine Keys, Paulus, they have consistently got themselves in these positions. Hubert trying to rebound, he's up to 11th. How about Laura Chung? She started all the way in the back of the field, and now she's in the 12th position. Got around Darian Arnsworth right there. Bryce Egan slipping back just a little bit in the 9. Trey Bartow making some moves. How about Duncan Ward in the 23 machine trying to move his way through the field? One guy who has not rebounded well is Thomas Troxel, who continues to slide all the way down to 29th, and He's had all those mechanical failures that he had in April, sent himself deep in the points. He got the win last week at Texas, but now it's like he's back to his old ways without the mechanical failure, and not at all what Troxel needs at this point in terms of having an opportunity to make the chase. Not a good run for San Benito, as there's such a closing rate. They get off the exit of turn number 4 and get in the loose stuff, because that 59 had a ton of speed on Rogaldorn and Philip Torres, and just see the difference in speed that these guys have in the different lines, creating some very interesting racing here tonight. I mean, look at this stuff. Darian Arnsdorf, Trey Barcha to the inside of Duncan Ward right there. And Laura Chung is flying fast. And Logan Williams got passed as well by Blaine Keys, Jack Haas, and the number 54, Daniel Paulus Jr., all in one fell swoop right there. And Ladovic Shrek got back around Travis Crampton for the race lead, but Crampton remains in the second position. His last year's Great Wolf Lodge 400 winner is out front here on lap number 9.
That's all it takes to win at the back part of the field, and we have a lead change. But yeah, you touched on it. A lot of drivers that we expect to be consistently running up front, like Keys, like Anna Miller, who's continuing that good one. And then same with Bell and Haas. They are starting to get more consistent ones. And that's Kansas. This track is known to see this, but we are at that point of the season where these ratings are really in effect, and we're going to see these drivers up front for the rest of the year most likely, and let's see if Crampton can make a run for Ladovic here. Has a good one off turn 4. Gonna get onto the 8th one a little bit. Set up side by side for the race lead. Doing 2-4s of Ladovic, Shred, and Travis Crampton.
And Ladovic has to be careful not to get too high up into the corner and allow these guys to close in. How about Andrew Miller? His 86 is fast. Got the win in Rockingham a few weeks ago, and he has shown a ton of strength since then as well. He was one of the few guys who has gone to victory lane this season who was in the lead draft at the end of Talladega. So he got a good run there when a lot of these other guys did not. He got the advantage from that, had a great run last week as well at Texas, and he is currently running in the 3rd position behind the top 2 drivers in points, Ladovic Shred and Travis Crampton, who have swapped positions a couple of times here tonight. Avery Alford there in the 4th position. Great run for Avery, and Avery has an opportunity and a good opportunity in making the chase. He has actually been consistently up front in a lot of these races, and Team Williams as a whole has been very strong. Duncan Ward was very strong last week at Texas. He was probably going to win that race before he blew up while leading. He's currently in the now 12th position. And I know he's 15th, or 13th, excuse me, because Hubert got around Logan Williams right there. And Matthew Hubert trying to hold on to a good run here. His teammate, Daniel Paulus Jr., running in the 8th position right there. Jack Haas, Blaine Keys still going for his first win of the season. I know he'd love this to be his first win, because if that ends up being the case, he's got a good shot of winning the championship. And Andrew Miller, I know he'd love that, because, you know, he has a shot at winning the championship, and he legitimately has a shot at winning this title this year. The way this team has been running, they have turned something on the past few weeks, and Andrew's going to go for the lead here on Travis Crampton. The guy you fired, looking to pass the guy who's currently leading in the points for you, Nathan. I don't know how you feel about that.
And why couldn't you have figured something out with the lanes when you were driving freelance racing? That's all I gotta say. But no, he's definitely figured something out, and not just in the Wawa Cup Series, but also in the JBL Cup Series. And the honest thing about that, who his owner is in both my and World Cup Series, Juan Duani. So that connection of Duani and Miller in multiple series is working out in both of our series, and who knows, maybe Miller can get the win here tonight. He very well could if he keeps it up, but we are not even close to pit stops here. And we're only on lap 15, so still got a long way to go, and who knows, maybe we see a, I don't know, Blaine Keith and Andrew Miller type situation here. Because Blaine Keith is not that far behind.
No, and you got to think, too, in the point standings, they're only separated by 13 points coming into this race. And, hey, Jack Haas getting around the 32 right there. Jack Haas was runner-up last week at Texas, had an opportunity at getting that race victory. Just couldn't quite get it on Troxel at the end with all the lap traffic in the way. And back to Andrew Miller, this is, Andrew has definitely picked up something, I think, in terms of the development, but you got to give credit to Ryan Durrani as well. This is a team that has not had any success at all in the Wawa Cup Series, or the rating series for that matter. But Ryan's found something there, and this team, this 86, has been running consistently with our defending champion, Ludovic Charette, Travis Crampton, all these guys in these past few races, and he really seems to be one of the big dogs now here in the Wawa Cup Series, the way it's looking. Good battle there for second as Ludovic moves to the inside of Andrew for that second position. Avery Alford in the fourth position. Kirsten Bell still has yet to go to victory lane this season there for Evans Ross Racing. That's the driver that went to victory lane twice by this point in the season last year. She has yet to go to victory lane since Dover over a year ago. But she is 12th in points, trying to move her way into that top 10. And a driver they're trying to knock out is Duncan Ward. And this 23, even though he's 12th, he's got both Blaine Keys and Kirsten Bell ahead of him enough where they would both surpass him in the standings, and he could actually slip outside the top 10. Not at all what he wants. Logan Williams there, running in the 13th position. You got Darian Arnsdorf and Eric Monaco, two of the uncharted drivers here, running inside the top 15. Great runs for those guys. Trey Bartow, Alex Amitali, Angel Gutierrez, Christian Master, Bryce Egan, Brian Webb. Not a good day for Isaac Nichols, who currently sits 8th in the standings. He's another guy that both Kirsten and Blaine are trying to get and jump in the standings right now. Nicholas Sambinet all the way back in 23rd. Thomas Troxel, last week's winner, down in 24th. So those three guys, especially Nichols and Troxel, both race winners this season. And Troxel just a race winner last week, not having good runs. Haley Anderson Jr. in the 25th position. Philip Torres. Nathan Smith is also deep in the field, all the way back in 27th in that 06 machine. Not exactly the place you want to be, considering that he's in that wild card race with Andrew Miller, Jack Haas, and all those guys are well ahead of him. Rogel Dorn, Bruno Diacomo, Brad Stover, the teammate to Andrew Miller, has not had the success his teammate has had, and Tanner Parton has slipped up in this 97. That 97 does not have any speed at all. Drew Webb deep in the field in the 18 as well. Carson Miller just got around him. LJ Cemento, not sure what's up with that 97 machine, but that is not what you want to see, Nathan. And a lot of these guys struggling in the back of the field. Jesse Turner there at the back there. And once again, for the race lead, Ludovic Charette to the inside of Travis Crampton. It's only been Charette and Crampton, the top two drivers in points, who have led laps in this race, but they have put on a great show. Alford, how about Paulus? All of a sudden finding his way in the fourth position. Andrew Miller got shuffled in the back there. Blaine Keys got around him. Jack Haas as well. We had a lot of shuffling go on there, and they're all still on these race leaders right here, and any of these guys top 10 have an opportunity of winning. How about Laura Chung moving her way through the field? How about Kirsten Bell getting into her teammate? Jack Haas right there off the exit of turn number 2.
I'm sorry, Echo, that's not what you wanted to see as a team. I guarantee that. That was a close moment off turn number 2, and yeah, unfortunately for Tanner Parton, he starts on the start fourth, and kind of like Hubert dropped all the way back, and Hubert's been trying to make his way up to the point again, but Tampa has not been able to. But yeah, back to Ladova and Crampton, those two, I'm not surprised that they are swapping back and forth for the race lead multiple times here tonight. Like you said, they are 1-2 in the point standings, and they might be some of the most consistent drivers this season, and especially at this track type. So I'm not surprised whatsoever. But you mentioned Daniel Paulus Jr. in that 54. He might have a little bit of a longer one car here, because he's kind of popped up inside the top 5 on the second half of this one.
He's got
and that's
Alfred
kind of
right
what you need to do. And yeah, he might take third away from Alfred here.
And Daniel's definitely a guy, and he would have had a top 10 finish last week had he not blown an engine. And he sits 20th in the points now. He's happy. The guys like Nathan Smith and other guys around him in that wild card race are slipping back, but he's also got Andrew Miller, Jack Haas not too far behind him. I mean, Miller is literally right there in the 86 machine, but Miller also has an opportunity at jumping into the top 10 at this point as well, which I know Paulus wants to do. He fell in the wild card last year. That didn't really work out too well for him in the chase. This team, all these teams, Miller, Charette, Crampton, Paulus, all have that strength in their cars to be able to contend for the championship, and I think that's partly why Blaine has not necessarily been that guy this year that we saw last year with Racing Motorsports. I think, as we said, and we've said all season long, the threshold of really good drivers in this series has been way larger than it has been in the past years, and Blaine Keys is just another one of those guys. It's a different team, a different setup on that car, and he has struggled a little bit for Blaine Keys standards at least. Though if he keeps this run up, he should find himself top 10 in the points once we are through tonight. Duncan Ward still on this line of drivers, and Matthew Hubert not too far off, and then Logan Williams. And there's a bit of a gap there until you get to the next guy. All of a sudden, where did he come from? Nicholas Samadillo is flying through the field. A good long-run car there. He was outside the top 20 not too long ago, and now he's on the back bumper of 15th place in Alex Samatali. He's going to get both Samatali and Monaco right here. Nathan Smith also moving his way through the field. Troxel moved up to 20th. It's like a switch turns on for some of these guys, and some of these guys just have much better long-run cars than others as this race goes along. So, not over yet for Samadillo, but he doesn't have a win. He's 18th in the point standings, though next week he is heading to the racetrack where he got his one and so far only win in the Wawa Cup Series, the North Wilkesboro Speedway, and won that race on a tire strategy. And keep in mind, too, we're bringing that same tire back, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun seeing some tire strategy once again at North Wilkesboro Speedway next week for the Brand 400. Andrew Miller to the inside of Daniel Pauls Jr. for third. Blaine's up here as well. But I have a feeling the race winner is going to either be Ladovic Charette or Travis Crampton, the way this thing has gone. They seem to be just a notch above everybody else at this point. There goes Blaine to the inside of Paulus, as Miller is in that third position, and Blaine might get around Miller as well. This 32 with a lot of speed late in the going as well. Laura Chung trying to move her way up here. She is third in the points, trying to back that up and get into the chase. Duncan Ward going to take the 10th position away from D'Oliveira. Great run for Bernardo here tonight, running it with these guys, still going for his first top 10 of the season. And he's just getting passed for 10th there by Duncan Ward, but still a great run overall. And Matthew Huber there still in the 12th position. Andrew Miller trying to hold off Blaine Keys right here. Will he get to Blaine Keys here? Seems like it's the biggest non-rivalry that we have. It's Andrew Miller versus Blaine Keys. I think if you ask Blaine Keys, I don't think Blaine thinks anything of it. And Andrew Miller was kind of just joking, but hey, they're right here. Both top 5 right now, battling for a possible win here tonight in this Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas.
If these two want to win, they have to catch up with the top 2 of Crampton and Ladova. And like you said, those 2 are gone, and it's kind of like the light switch has turned on for some of these drivers, like Blaine Keys, like Daniel Paulus Jr., like Nicholas Samadillo. They got the long one car, and they have turned it up to high gear here lately, and that might end up working out for them, because the way that pit stops is going to shake out, it's going to be a decent one to the end. So you might want to have a long one car, but speaking of long one car, I think Ladova might have a little bit of a better long one car than Crampton. Crampton's still there, about 4 to 5 tenths behind, but it's very fascinating. It's been a lot of great racing here tonight, but now that we are, I want to say, about 10 laps away from pit stops, the long one setups are really coming into play here, and I really like this battle. Great one from Sam Vitale this year. I had my eyes set on him early on in the year because I know what he can do with these winning series. And 4th in points, winning top 15 here tonight, great one. And how about that number 11 back there as well? Still inside the top 20 after 23rd here tonight.
That's still a Grattan car, so are you surprised?
Nope, I am not.
And keep in mind, these guys are doing ratings as well, and I think as we move on throughout the season, those guys are going to be stronger and stronger as we move along. Troxel is now 18th, but that's still not a good run for him or Nathan Smith. Those are 2 guys in that wild card race that are going to slip back the way it's currently running. But Paul's with a solid run, top 5 run for him here tonight, an opportunity of winning. I think all these guys still have a good shot at winning this race based on what happens on the pit cycle. We'll see how it goes down, because they're all still just right on each other. And remember what Travis Crampton did at Homestead, and I think if this thing stays green, I think it's going to be a very Homestead-ish race in terms of who's up front and who's not. And Crampton just had the fastest car in that last run there at Homestead to get that win in the Wawa 400 earlier. And you know what? He's got an opportunity of doing the same thing here, but we could see someone else kind of pull something like that. Maybe a Duncan Ward, who we know can go and win a race. Got that win at Darlington. His only win so far this season in the Wawa Cup Series, but he has been very strong. Of course, he had an opportunity of winning last week at Texas and blew an engine while leading. The Appalachian Motorsports cars, they are 13th and 14th right now, but they are both 8 seconds off the race leaders. You got the top 12 who are all on each other as Ludovic Charette has come down the pit lane. Short pitting, and if this thing stays green, that might not be the best call. It is a cool night, a lot of grip on the track. The tire wear isn't too hugely significant here at Kansas, but I don't know if that's going to end up working out long term if we have a green flag race here today. And in that, Andrew Miller and Blaine Keys both got around Travis Crampton, and I think that caught Crampton off guard. Miller is going to lead that lap. All these guys staying out right here. There goes Hubert down the pit lane, so a couple guys in the back there, short pitting a little bit earlier than expected. You always hold our breath when we have a green flag run of pit stops at a track like this, and these guys are just swapping positions all over the place. And these guys are double wide as well. Though, they start coming down way earlier, and contact there between Crampton and Paulus. And you just remember what happened at Homestead with Paulus getting into... No, Paulus and Crampton were 1-2 at Homestead. Which race was it where they had contact coming down the pit lane and completely threw everyone off guard right there? Journey of the field, down the pit lane right here. Moldova, of course, is already out there, and she's done with her pit stop, and we'll see this whole thing cycle through here in just a moment, but how will it end up cycling through once we get everything said and done here? Travis Crampton, of course, lost some time there on the entry, so he had to check up there for Ludovic Charette. We'll see what he ends up doing right here. It is going to be a 4-tire stop for all these guys. You see Paulus there. Blaine Keys is already done with his stop, and Blaine was ahead of these guys once that cycle started, and Crampton, a little bit slower. I wonder if they had a little bit of damage to repair on the 98 machine, but he's going to lose some pace right there. And I think we'll have this 51 driving around here in just a moment. She's got a full head of steam. Will we see the Blaine Keys-Ludovic Charette battle here tonight that we have yet to see this year? Saw that many times last season. I think we might get a chance at seeing that here tonight because Blaine's going to be second off and Ludovic Charette drives by. But that 32 is going to have 2-lap fresher tires, and I think in the long run he's going to be at a bit of an advantage here and have a fun race to the end here in this Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas.
I mentioned it is a little bit of a cool night. Might have been a really cold one I went through last night, and it's kind of chilly. Not a lot of tire.
It's unseasonably cold. I think it's like in the 30s, which, you know, isn't particularly what it would be. I mean, 50s might be what we get this time of year in Kansas, but not in the 30s. It's not in the 30s in real life in Kansas City, but you know what? We just give us what the game gives us, and it's going to give us a very interesting race, no doubt about it. Next time by, it'll be 27 laps to go here in the Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas. Ludovic Charette looking to go back-to-back here at Kansas, get her first win of the season. Blaine Keys also going for his first win of the season. Paulus is third. Jack Haas, Duncan Ward, Andrew Miller, Matthew Hubert, Laura Chung, Bernardo de Oliveira, and Kirsten Bell. Crampton all the way back in 11th after the cycle. Sam Vitale is 12th. Logan Williams, Avery Alford, Angel Gutierrez, Thomas Troxel, Eric Monaco, Bryce Egan, Philip Torres, Rogaldorn. Where did Sam Adillo go?
Where did Sam Adillo? Where is he? 39.
Something happened to him. He's not even on the race. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
That ain't good. Fuel system on the 59. We had so many mechanical issues last week. That is not at all what Nicholas Samadillo needed here tonight. And with how strong this field is, there's a very, very good opportunity, very good chance that he misses the chase this season. And it's such a shame. All-time winningest driver on the channel. Still... though that might change. He might be sharing that once we're done the night. Blaine Keys is right there in second, trying to close in on Ludovic Charette, and Ludovic's closing in on lap traffic, and she's got to be careful getting around these guys. But how about this? Like we're back at the end of last season. It's Ludovic Charette, it's Blaine Keys, 1-2 here at Kansas. It's a little over 20 laps to go here in the Great Wolf Lodge 400.
Welcome back to 2020 hours, 2024. I mean, and these two were strong last year, and Blaine Keys has been quiet. He's still been good, but he's been quiet. But he might being positioned in. While I was getting out of the tire situation, it might be cold, but tires are still going to be a factor, and Dolit was the very first one to pit. He's pitted a couple laps later, and I think Clampton and a few others were some of the last ones to pit. So there is some tire, and it is still a 25 lap one to the end. So we might see some drivers towards the back of the top 10.
Something happened.
Oh
no! She got in the wall. And you're going to see that in the corner of your screen. She got in the wall, I think. I don't know if Blaine got a pass to the inside of her or not, but you'll see that in the corner of your screen. What happened? Blaine Keys is out front here at the Kansas Speedway. Pacific Racing won last week with Troxel. Will they go back-to-back? And will this be an omen for later on in the season in terms of the championship? I know Blaine Keys sure hopes that's the case, but he's now got a 1-second lead on Ladovic. F51 got in the outside wall right there. Turner got back around Ladovic as well, so something happened to that 51. She is back up to speed right there. Paulus, Jack Haas, Matthew Hubert's top 5 right now. Great run for Velocity. I know Matt loves to see this, and I know Matthew Hubert especially loves to see this as well. Duncan Ward is 6th. Lord Chung Bernardo is still in this top 10. Trying to get his first top 10 of the season, running with the big dogs here tonight. Kirsten Bell, Travis Crampton, Andrew Miller. And this 59, Nicholas Samadillo, is he's 2 laps down, but he's going to be much faster near the end of this run because he does have those fresher tires. They get around Fitzwater, going to lap the 99 is Zachary Fitzwater there in that moment. And Blaine Keys trying to pull away from Ladovic Charette now, and he's got the tire advantage as well, but still over 20 laps to go here in this Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas.
And honestly, I think what might have happened, we don't know obviously, but we did catch up a lap traffic. I don't know if Ladovic got tight, maybe aero tight, got into the outside wall. Not a lot of damage on the 51 on the white side, but definitely slowed it down at least, and trying to catch back up to Blaine Keys, and that might be a tough thing, especially with Keys having 2 flusher tires, but 2 half flusher tires. But how about Matthew Hubert? He felt bad at the start because he started on the outside, and now with a good pit stop, he is inside the top 5. And remember the trend at Kansas Speedway. The previous 2 Wawa Cup Series winners got the first win. I know Blaine Keys might be in a good position, but you know, maybe Hubert was one of those drivers that pitted late, like Blaine Keys. I don't know, and it's still the Wawa Cup Series. We could have a mechanic failure and then have a wreck. I don't want Sable James to here, but it's that can happen, and we could have a late
anything can happen. Haven't had a wreck since that big wreck at Talladega. I'm glad that got it out of everyone's system. But you never know when something could happen. And a mechanical issue is still, unfortunately very possible. Troxel's not had a good night. His teammates leading this race right now. He won last week. He's down in 16th, and that's still not good in the wildcard race because a lot of those guys he's battling, like Miller, like Paulus, and like Jack Haas, they're all running top 5. They're all running up front here and ahead of him in this race. And, Jack, keep in mind, almost won last week as well at Texas. He's found a lot of speed as of late in that 39 machine for Evans Ross Racing, and these guys are all they're just winding it back up on each other, and now you're going to have some more guys in contention because I think that 54 Daniel Paulus Jr. might be one of the fastest cars on the track right now. In the tire tracks, Ladovic. Ladovic has a bit of right side damage from that. I don't think it's enough to really affect her too much. He has closed back in on Blaine, and I don't think we're going to run into lap traffic for a while. But keep that in mind. That might be affecting her just enough where she might not have a shot here. Paulus, Haas, Huber with a great opportunity. Lord Chung, Duncan Ward. And the only 2 guys, actually 3 guys, who have yet to win this season, who are in that top 7 are Blaine Keys, Ladovic Charette. The top 2 in the points last year is Paulus. Goes to the inside. And then Matthew Hubert still going for his first ever win. Who's had a great night in that 15 machine. Bernardo de Oliveira as well as 8th. And I think he might close in on this here soon. And I think Paulus is going to go for the race lead here soon as well. That 54 is flying out there. And he's got a chip on his shoulder from what happened to him last week at Texas. And he's got an opportunity at getting his 2nd win of the season.
That 54 is absolutely flying. I don't think this is over yet. Like you said, these guys are just bunching back up with the draft and the high speeds of Kansas. And we're going to have a lot of drivers with a shot at the race win.
He made that look easy. He made that look easy. He just drove right by Blaine Keys. And a new race leader here at the Kansas Speedway. It's Daniel Paulus Jr. going to lead his first laps of the night. And it is now 14 laps to go here in the Great Wolf Lodge. 400 at Kansas. Ledovic's also going to take second. Blaine ran his tires down. That 32 slipping back now. Here comes Jack Haas in the 39. Matthew Hubert, Duncan Ward, Laura Chung. They're all right here, trying to close in and have an opportunity at this race victory. Ledovic's still got a shot at winning this race, but Paulus really strong here tonight at the Kansas Speedway. Looking to get his second win of the season, and he's got a great opportunity at doing so.
He might as well do it, because he definitely has a very long car right now, and that car's flying. Jack Haas is flying, and you know who else is flying? How about Duncan Wood in the number 23 wants some revenge from Texas last week? He might get it on Hubert, but the great one off turn 2, we've not seen that a lot. Outside lane got a great one off turn 2, but
whoa! He just got in the Hubert in the outside wall! And they continue going. No caution here at the Kansas Speedway, but that could have taken both drivers out. They're going to continue. Here comes De Oliveira, going to close in Kirsten Bell and Travis Crampton into the mix as well, and Matthew Hubert is not going to be happy with the Scotsman in the number 23. That is for sure. Oh my, that could have been huge. Jack Haas for second. And he's in the same position he was in last week at the Texas Motor Speedway, looking to surpass his 54 for a race win. Blaine's back in the mix as well. He's trying to get around Ledovic for the third position. He's going to take it right there. 11 laps to go here at Kansas in the Great Wolf Lodge 400. What a race this has been. It's been a fun one here tonight at Kansas Speedway. How about Laura Chung there in 5th? She started all the way back outside the top 30 in this race, and she's now 5th in the number 20 machine. It's a great driver right there and a great team. So many great drivers and teams this season, I tell you what. And when they battle it out, it is a heck of a show. And we don't know any of these 4 guys, and maybe even Laura still have a shot at winning this race. It's 10 laps to go. And now Jack Haas looking to close in here on Daniel Paulus Jr. for the race lead.
Well, how do you consider that a staple change to what happened to Matthew Hubert? I don't know. But that's a tough break. But you mentioned that some of the best drivers and teams here at Kansas usually are up front, and we have the top 5 there. That was close, top 5, all different drivers from different teams, so fantastic stuff. And you know what, Jack Haas, he is in a wild card position. He might not even have to worry about the wild card position leaving tonight, as he wants to win number 2, but watch out for Blaine Keith. He might be saving his stuff for a late last 10 laps push to the race lead here.
And Blaine's a guy that can get these guys ahead of him. He's got more experience than anyone driving around him. None of the drivers he is currently racing with made a start prior to 2022. He made his first start in the very first race on the channel in 2015. Not that that has much to do with it in a rating series, but there's just something about this game, and you know, it favoring those guys that have that slight little bit of an advantage. And Blaine's going to try to get that on Jack Haas right here. Duncan Ward there in the 23 machine has rebounded. Hubert has not necessarily rebounded in the 15. He's going to lose another position, going to go down the 9th right there. Crampton still in the top 10. Nicholas Samadillo, of course, is still a little ways back. Sam Ventali is having a great run here. He's up to 11th. Logan Williams, Andrew Miller's fallen to 13th. Not necessarily the long run speed in Miller or Alford's cars here tonight. But still holding it up there and trying to do the best they can in terms of the points. Ledovic trying to get around Blaine Keys, but this race might now be between Daniel Paulus Jr. and Jack Haas. And Jack Haas looking for his second win. Paulus looking for his second win of the season. And Jack was runner-up last week at Texas, and this is a great sign for Jack Haas as we get him to this stretch of the season where we have all these intermediate racetracks. 2 weeks from tonight, it's the Coke 600. And that's a race we're going to see a lot of these same guys run up front in, I feel like. And that's going to be a heck of a race, too, once we get to the Coke 600. We're excited. In the 250 week, and you know the night before that, what we got the night before that, Nathan?
Oh, yeah, we got the first ever Little 250 as well. So.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that race. All the custom late models at Anderson Speedway. I'm in it. I'm in that race. Or should I say Benny Watson is in that race. But it's like the first time I've ever signed up for a race that'll be on my channel, and I'm excited to see how that goes. Looking forward to Indy 250 week starting on Wednesday. First Indy 250 practice session. And
it's that time of the year.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun once we get down to it here in just a few days at Indianapolis. Daniel Paulus Jr. trying to win this race ahead of Jack Haas. I think the tires are starting to even out just a little bit, but this race is still far from over. But it is now 4 laps to go on the Great Wolf Lodge 400 for Daniel Paulus Jr. and Team Velocitar. Jack Haas trying to find some way around this 54 machine, and Blaine Keys hoping they tangle so he gets his 30th career win on the channel.
Who wants to win number 2 on the season more? Haas or Paulus Jr.? And you mentioned the tangle. We've seen it once before you tonight. And it could happen again. Actually, we've seen it a couple of times. And we'll see if he wants this win. This could be huge for Paulus, and this could be huge for Jack Haas. I don't think this could be bigger for Paulus Jr. We know that Jack Haas is really good, but Daniel Paulus Jr. is trying to have a standout season here this year in the Wawa Cup Series and trying to beat the big dogs like Jack Haas and Blaine Keys especially. That would be huge, but we only have 2 laps to go. Maybe a lap car in between is going to get good in this one.
Yeah, we may have that similar situation to what we had at Texas last week, where we're running these lap cars right at the end. It's 2 laps to go. And Justin Zeidel, Brad Stover, a little bit off the pace in this one. Laura Chung going for 4th on Ludovic Charette, and she's going to take it, and Jack's got a shot here on Daniel Paulus Jr. Oh. Hey, remember the last time Paulus went to victory lane, Nathan? 1/100th of a second in Martinsville. Will we see something similar here tonight? Laura's going to try to take this 4th spot away from Ludovic Charette as it's the white flag for Daniel Paulus Jr. here in the Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas. Once again, another caution-free Kansas race. Will Paulus get it? Jack Haas, Blaine Keys all in a line, and they're closing in on Zeidel and Stover ahead of them.
Haas has a little bit of a 1. It's going to come down to 3 and 4. It's going to come down to this lap traffic. If I was Paulus, I would not worry about the lap close. He has enough gap between himself and Haas.
I think you're right. Daniel Paulus Jr. It'll be his 3rd career win in the Wawa Cup Series and his 2nd of 2025. Paulus Jr. wins the Great Wolf Lodge 400 here at the Kansas Speedway.
Whew. Caution free, and we can finally take a breath. What a finish.
Jack Haas, Blaine Keys, Lord Chung, all the way up to 4th. Ludovic Charette, Duncan Ward. Bernardo de Oliveira gets his first top 10 of the season. Great run for Bernardo. Kirsten Bell, Travis Crampton, and Matthew Hubert, the top 10. Sam Vitale, Logan Williams, Avery Alford, Andrew Miller, and Isaac Nichols round up the top 15. Troxel finished all the way back in 18th. Nathan Smith all the way back in 27th. Not a good run for Nathan Smith after what we saw out of him at Darlington, but Daniel Paulus Jr. just got his 3rd career win on the channel and his 3rd win in the Wawa Cup Series. What a race there for Paulus, and this is why Matt Tugg hired him, and this is what this team expected as this season went along. And this could have been last week, too, if he did not have his engine expire. But thankfully, much fewer mechanical failures in this race. The only one was Nicholas Samadeo, who had a fuel issue and got it fixed, but no one else had any problems, and he's going to finish last here at Kansas. And I tell you, it's just not been a good season for Nicholas Samadeo and Appalachian Motorsports. But Paulus, after what happened last week, a big setback there at Texas, going to gain it all back here. Now, that extra win does not give him an advantage over the drivers he is against in the wild card race. He still has to beat those guys on points, but he's going to get max points here tonight. Didn't lead the most laps, but he's going to get a lot of points here tonight and move himself further up. And he may actually slide himself in a position, though Jack Haas is going to be up there as well. I think Andrew may actually slip out of it, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. We'll see the points in just a moment. But Nathan, what a race here at Kansas. A fun one at that here on this Friday night. And what a race there out of Daniel Paulus Jr., who clearly had the fastest car at the end and just drove by Blaine Keys like it was no one's business there to win this Great Wolf Lodge 400 here at the Kansas Speedway.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Daniel Paulus Jr. had a rocket ship late out of nowhere. He was in it all night. Had a top 5, top 8 car, but he was able to steal it at the end. Great one from Daniel Paulus Jr. And honestly, that's a bigger win for Daniel Paulus Jr. than what it would have been for Jack Haas, because he is trying to make a statement this year, and he is doing it 2 wins now, and just a great one for him. Great one from Blaine Keys. Lord Chun, like I said, started deep in the field, and because of that, the top 3 in points all finished inside the top 10 here tonight. So, once again, up there in points are some of the best drivers. But what a night here at Kansas Speedway. I might have jinxed Hubert a little bit, so got a top 10, but that broke the trend here at Kansas, the first win first career win,
Mm-hmm.
and
It did. First,
I'm a stat guy, so I wouldn't fit. Didn't quite happen. Who was in the minutes late, but what night here at Kansas, and great win from Daniel Paulus Jr. and a caution-free, chilly night at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, you guys don't see that it says that it's clear and 36 degrees in May. That is not accurate to real life, but I think it gave us a great track and a great race for these guys. And hey, Daniel Paulus Jr., that ain't going to be his last win either. And I said this in Martinsville, too, that he was going to win multiple races this season. He's only the second driver to go to victory lane twice. He and Thomas Troxel, and neither of them were top 10 in points. That's just the way the season has been for these guys. But if you keep that consistency up and you don't have those mechanical failures, I mean, Paulus and those guys at Team Velocity top 5 team right now. I genuinely mean it. I know the points do not reflect that, but they are up there with those guys, and they're going to have a great opportunity at this championship because they won the race that the past 2 champions had gone on to win. And I know Daniel's going to be happy with that. Matt's going to be happy about that. Matt might not be too happy with Duncan Warren after what he tried to do to Matthew Hubert, but at least the good side to that is they still both got a top 10. And that could have been a lot worse, but that was close right there. And even Ludovic Charette getting in the outside wall there, that could have been disastrous for her, but she ended up with a top 5 run there in the end of this one. That was a fun race. We love it when we get races like this, and I think hopefully we'll see a lot of races like this throughout the rest of the year. The next week, North Wilkesboro Speedway. I don't know what the heck they're doing in real life over there. I just don't even care anymore. I'll still watch the All-Star race, but the race you really should be watching is the Brant 400 next Friday night right here on AG the channel. And we're bringing that same tire that we brought last year. And oh boy, was that a fun one. We're seeing Jack Haas just rip it there like 5 seconds a lap faster than the field. It's weird. It's weird. You don't see that in real life, but it's a fun race. And we're going to have a lot of fun in the Brant 400 next Friday night at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And next weekend, it's Indy 250 qualifying, and then the weekend after that, it is the greatest weekend of the year with the Coke 600, Indianapolis 500 real life, and then, of course, on our side, the Coke 600 and the Indianapolis 250. And we're excited for all of it coming up here in just a couple of weeks. It's the greatest month of the year, the month of May. Isn't that right? You're an Indiana native, Nathan. You know the month of May is important.
It's special. Well, regardless, motorsports as a whole, it's special, and it's going to be a fun time.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching here tonight from the Kansas Speedway. Congratulations to Daniel Paulus Jr. for the race victory here in the Great Wolf Lodge 400 at Kansas. Here are the point standings after 14 races. Only 8 races remain until the cutoff on June 27th at Atlanta. We're excited to see how it all goes down until we get to that point. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. On behalf of Nathan Stapleton, I will see you guys later.